Hello, everyone. This is Brian with the Stock Gauntlet. If this is your first time to the show, welcome. Thanks for taking the time to watch our channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. The Stock Gauntlet is where we look at charts for over 100 common stocks and ETFs. Many of our episodes are private, so if you want the full series, come join us on Substack. That's unearnedinc.substack.com. As a reminder, Brian, the founders and operators of UNEarned Inc. and Stock Gauntlet, are not registered broker-dealers or investment advisors. We are not subject to any trading restrictions. We may or may not have positions in any investment mentioned. Our content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to be used as a source to make investment decisions. We do not guarantee future performance on equities mentioned. Individuals and/or companies investing in any instrument must perform their own due diligence. Investing involves risk. You may lose all or more than your initial investment. Consult a licensed professional before making any investment decisions. Welcome, everyone. Let's get into it and run the stock gauntlet here. We got a lot of stocks to cover tonight. This is pretty exciting because after all the tariff shock, it looks like we're starting to see a base form on some picks. We'll see what we find. You'll notice if this is your first time here, I go through these pretty fast because my investment philosophy is really simple. We don't buy at the top. We're looking for great entry points, preferably at the bottom. And so you can go through a lot of stocks. We will call out, I think it's important to mention this, we call out stocks that we think or I think are good for investment purposes versus ones that may be better for trades. We even advocate for having two separate brokerage accounts, one for investing long-term and one for trading. So let's jump in. This is going to be a version that's not in alphabetical order tonight. These are sorted from worst performing today, which looks like it was T-Mobile down here, and then all the way up to what was the highest performing today at 9%. Looks like Tesla was starting to turn around and gain some momentum. But let's start at the bottom, work our way up to see if we can find any good picks, go from there. T-Mobile, not a lot to talk about here. Looks like earnings happened last night. We dropped back down. We're getting close to that 200 moving day. So that's something to pay attention to. I'm not a big fan of the mobile providers right now. Obviously, it's at the top, which is kind of against one of our big rules unless we see a really compelling reason. Next worst performing was Intel, minus 6%. Again, I've gotten cooked on this one. I thought it was recovering with some of the CHIPS Act. It kind of peaked up here, came back down, and it's just been meandering, I should say, around the $20 mark. So I'm going to stay away from Intel for now. VIX, will kind of skip that one. Pacific Biosciences, looks like it's kind of relatively flat. Plug has not kind of turned around. This is one where you got to be fast. You got to be kind of in and out. I made a little bit of money on this one and then gave it all back. It hit 3 around, this was January of this year, January 7th, and now it is under $1. Not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Neo, just kind of doing the same thing, heading down. Beam Therapeutics, I don't see kind of any good pattern. It did cross the 20-day here, which is nice, but kind of looking at the 15-year. Remember, if you haven't been with us before, this is on the weekly. I like using this lower chart to see a 15-year, even if the stock hasn't been around for 15 years. But essentially, this is kind of taking a snapshot once a week, which gives you just enough data points to kind of see where you are in a general sense over the long term. And obviously, this one's kind of at the bottom of the barrel. It actually may be bottoming out at the 13 level. But again, nothing compelling for me to jump into that. Alcoa. This is funny. I'm a big fan of Josh Brown. I think he had someone on his compound interest show not too long ago talking about aluminum. Alcoa makes, like, I believe they still make the soda cans and things like that. Luckily, I didn't buy at that point. I think they were mentioning it back around here. This thing kind of has been range bound. It's down at the bottom of the range around the 24 level, 23.73. Maybe it starts turning around if you consider that the baseline, and it's at the 20-day moving average. So if aluminum kind of interests you, that may be a play there. Kronos, I'm not touching these marijuana stocks. These things, if you may want to put 1,000 in and hope for 10 years that it may turn around, but there's probably better bets at this point. Love AT&T. Obviously, it's been in a downtrend over the past 15 years, but when it got to this point around the $14 range, it just felt really low, and I kind of made out well with this one. I think I'm up probably about 46%. I would not probably enter at this point. You kind of see a couple of points around this 26, 27. It's kind of flatlining here, so I like it for the dividend, although I know some people say don't buy the stocks for the dividend, but obviously I do like to have some diverse picks in my dividend portfolio. But I think you may get it at a cheaper price there. Oklo converging here, 200-day in the 20 over here, but not compelling for me right now. BHP, we're going to skip that one. I got to do more research on that. CRISPR hit this baseline a couple of times here, pulled back a little bit even further. Maybe it gathers its footing. This is at the 39.97 mark. That may be one if you're into the CRISPR third period. I kind of stay away from the biotechs right now. It's one of those, like, whenever you get in, it goes the wrong way, and then overnight it just shoots up because they make some major discovery on how to regrow your limbs overnight and things like that. And either you're on the inside or you kind of miss it. Whirlpool, thank God I didn't get into this one. I thought this was going to turn around. I still think it's a good company, good products, but it's just been on this downtrend with, mortgage rates being at 7% or close to. It did do a little peak if you were able to catch it right. This was back in January 25th of 25 this year, and now it's just been kind of downhill ever since. I think at some point it may reach this 108 and close this gap, or 110. If you think this is bottoming, maybe it's a good chance to kind of get back in and try to ride it up to 110, but you're probably going to be waiting quite a while. That's definitely not going to be an overnight trade. We'll skip Rio. AIG, I wish I would have got in on this one. Again, looking at the 15-year chart, hit here, hit here, hit here, kind of a nice base around the 47, and then took off, and I just missed it. This one was talked about on a couple of other stock investment boards, but I don't know if I'd enter at this point. Now it's still kind of at the peak around 81. Billy, good old ADR. I don't really play too much with the China stocks. This one's kind of baseline. Maybe it's doing another crossover here, 20 and 200. Something to look at if you dare. Right now, I'll probably pass on that one. Pepsi, I have gotten slaughtered on Pepsi. I bought way up here, kind of almost close to 180. Kind of recovered, then came back down. I was like, oh, if it ever gets back up to close to 180, I'll sell. And then this thing crashed through the 159, and now we're 133. Yeah, I'm collecting dividends, but this is a perfect example of this is not the stock to own for dividends. It's just between Ozempic and everything else. It's just, the tariffs, it's just been slaughtered. Coca-Cola is doing a little bit better, but Pepsi was not the pick. I thought with their diverse portfolio, it'd be better than Coke, and I was totally wrong on that one. Cody, looks like it was range bound and then kind of broke through. Not much to talk about there. U-Haul, Americo. I don't see a really good pattern. Still falling a little bit, kind of meandering. Not going to touch it. D.R. Horton, we kind of know what the home builders are doing, so not much to talk about there. Clover. D-King, I call it Donkey Kong. So this one, DraftKings, had a nice cup and handle. This is an example. The stock hasn't been around for 15 years, but this was kind of downtrend back in 21, had the nice cup, then started doing kind of the nice handle and broke up here to 52. And then this is what I call a cup and vandal. You thought it was going to keep going, and basically you got vandalized. It took all your money, and now you're depressed, back down to 31. I don't think this is a long-term hold, but I think there'll be some support here, and you may be able to get it back up in that high 40s range at some point. So it's one to watch and maybe one to kind of look at. National Storage. I know this is a kind of a popular dividend payer, 56 cents per quarter per share. I'm not in it, but we'll see. Lulu. Lulu, you could have made a lot of money a couple of years ago. Now it's just struggling. If we go into recession, I think we're pretty much there. People just don't want to talk about it. It did hit a little bit of support. You see here at 240, 248 or so. And then you see it here, it peaked around 254, 255. So maybe some action happens and it crosses back over that 20-day. Like I said, there's been a lot of ones trying to recover since the tariff nonsense. Pulte Group, downtrend, home builder, Five Below. This thing has crashed through a bunch of baselines. I don't know if this thing can get any cheaper. So this one may be one to look at. Looks like it's already closed its gap and now above the 20-day. So that may be one if you're interested in. Global X Copper, CopX. Kind of interesting. It's back and forth, kind of in some type of range, probably in the middle of the range. Middle range is not great, but if I can get it even lower, I will. Like I said, look at Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is up at the 74 range, doing the exact opposite of what Pepsi is. I don't know what Pepsi's problem is, but unfortunately, Coca-Cola was the better pick. And you get the 48 cents dividend. So congrats to the folks on Coca-Cola. TDOC, this has been a disaster. The whole telehealth, this one has just never recovered. I can't imagine 293. This is back in February of 2021, and you're now $7. This one will probably never recover in my lifetime. Ally, I love Ally. I got this very early on, kind of way back in the 15, 16s. This thing got down to 11 and then took off and all the way up to 55. Pays a good dividend. I'm still interested in this one. I think this is still, I don't know if I'd get in right now. Maybe you get a little bit pullback in around the 29, even better at the 25, 24. But Ally's been a good pick. Dollar Tree, this one, the dollar stores, I think people thought they were going to perform a lot better because of heading into recession. Then it just completely crashed. They haven't been the dollar in a long while, but still cheaper than a lot of other stores. Now it's back up to 80, trying to make some moves. So I think this one may have some legs. It crossed the 20, crossed the 200, had a couple of pullbacks last 3 days. So this is one to watch. Maybe it starts to recover. Generac, I love the concept. I love Generac. This is the one that keeps your lights on. It has the generator that goes on the side of your house, especially in prone areas that have tornadoes and hurricanes. But it's just a weird stock. It never really just kind of runs. It had some good uptake to 498. This was probably back, in October of 2021. Now it's back here kind of close to 100. If you believe this is a long-term hold, it doesn't pay a dividend though, but it's, maybe it's a good entry point, especially here. It was, under 100 at 99. Walmart, I like Walmart. To me, this is a long-term play. I don't think this company is going to go bankrupt anytime soon. It's a little pricey for me right now, just based on the chart. I loved it back in the 80s, right? The 80, 82. It pays a 20-cent dividend, but it's a good long-term hold. I see if it kind of falls a little bit more. Here's another one, kind of a top here, double top. Altria, if you're into, what they call the sin stocks, it pays $1.02 a share. Good long-term hold. I can never jump into these cigarette stocks because it's always like, wow, there's still a lot of people smoking around the globe apparently. It's just kind of spinning off cash. But I'm not one to jump in. I always say I'm about to jump in and just never pull the trigger. FCX, I'll come back to that. That one's another copper and gold. Gold's been through the roof. I'd rather own GLD. I don't know if I have GLD in my watch list, but look at GLD for a long-term hold unless you're going to go out to Costco and try to fight people for the gold bars when they come out and put them out on the floor. Vichi's at the top of its range. I like Vici. It owns like a lot of the leases in Vegas. They have their buildings. The casinos pay Vici. I think Caesars and a couple of others. Not in this one, but this is a popular dividend play one. It's 43 cents, kind of at the top of the range. So right now, I'd probably wait till it pulls back if I were going to enter into that one. Paychecks is another one. Missed the boat on this one. Love it at 110. Unfortunately, it's up at 153. It's come down to 143, kind of approaching that 200-day. So this one may be one to look at. Let's see. AES had high hopes for this one, and this one has crashed through every single level of support. It is now at $10. I can't imagine it going any lower, but looking at the 15-year, it has touched that $10 mark several times, but it's just kind of a dicey stock. CDW, I've liked this one, but I'm surprised that I think just with the cutbacks and I don't know if you remember, but these folks, they would have the catalog, the CDW with all the like computer and electronics and a lot of the, schools and high schools and middle schools order all the networking equipment and stuff from CDW. But maybe with, a lot of the cuts in budgets, people aren't just running out and buying new computer equipment all the time. Moderna's gotten slaughtered, 449 on the 15-year on a weekly, and this thing is down at 27. Not going to touch it anytime soon. Ulta, Ulta was high flying. That's taking quite a haircut. See what happens there. Pets, that's taking quite a haircut. We're going to go a little bit faster here. Thermo Fisher, the Great Battery QuantumScape. I think they had that deal. I don't know if it was with Volkswagen, and this thing just won't get off the ground. It is down at $3.94 now. Realty Income. Everybody loves if you're on the dividends. This is one you almost have to just be, have some shares just because you want to be in the cool kids club. 26 cents it's paying on its dividend. It kind of had a little bit of range. It's kind of all over the place, to be honest, but I love when it's around that 50. Right now it's at 56, so it's kind of like, let's see if it can pull back slightly. But I think a lot of the people who really love they really love it because they got in under 50. So you got to watch this one and just kind of see if it gets back under there, and then kind of load the boat a little bit. Always love JP Morgan. Everybody loves Jamie Dimon. This one is just kind of, it's pricey. If you got it back here, I think I may have even purchased this for my son way back, probably in the 100s, 120. So this thing, probably 2-3 years has had a really nice run, but you had to have caught it. This one got away from you. Carrier Global, it looks like it's basing. Match, kind of down in the doldrums. Beyond Meat. I'm not touching the fake meat. This thing has never recovered. Kind of crazy. I probably should remove this one off the watch list at this point. Cube, I believe this is in the REIT category. It's the self-storage. I think it is classified as a REIT. Yeah, it is. And this one, I wish it was a little bit lower. I have kind of a base at 37.21. It's not too bad, so maybe one to consider. 51-cent dividend, so that's nice. Maybe one to kind of add to the portfolio. MasterCard going on a tear, but you had to have got it way back when. Unfortunately, I think I missed this one for now. Evercore, I forget what these guys do. Put in the comments or chat what Evercore does, but it's taking quite a haircut, 311. Exact Sciences, really not, like I said, touching the science and biotech ones right now. OHI, Omega Health, this one has a crazy chart. It's up, it's down. It's kind of high right now. I think people get it because of the dividend. Probably wouldn't touch it at this point. Dollar General, kind of like Dollar Tree. This one's taken off, building up a little bit of steam. I wouldn't wait too much longer if you want to get in this one. If you do decide to get in this one, the 20s crossed the 200 day. Um, be prepared just to kind of hold it a little bit. Don't think you're going to get this thing back to 106 and then cash out. I would say, if you're swing trading it, just kind of be a little bit patient with that one. SPGI, S&P Global. I know this one's a popular one. I think I just missed the boat on this one. It's, not overly pricey across the 20. Like a lot of stocks are now starting to cross the 20. It was at 545, so maybe a good long-term hold. And it's got a nice juicy 0.91 dividend. But again, the yield's probably pretty in the doldrums because you're paying $480 per share. So Riot was down. These are all down like 0.26%. The good old crypto looks like it's recovering a little bit. Enterprise Products Partners, that kind of crossed the baseline a while back around the 27 trend line. Now it's crossing the 200. So don't wait too long if you get back into that one. And it has a good dividend. I want to say it's like the 0.52, 52 cents. Ford, if you get Ford at like that $9, $8, like this is one you actually could have held a while and build up a portfolio. This is not one you get anywhere in the 18s. Like you got to get this one under 10. I don't know if they're going to even keep that dividend going. They pulled it for a while. If you see here on the 15-year, all these blue, these light bulbs where you don't see any of the green dollar signs, that's when they kind of pulled the dividend for a while and they brought it back. The family's still pretty heavily involved in this company. And so they're like, we want our damn dividend back. So it's at 15 cents. I kind of was in this one for a while, no longer. But if you jump in it, like, yeah, 844 was great to probably get into it. You could have made a nice, you could have made like 25% return just if you held it here for like a month or so. Now it's getting a little bit pricey, but like I said, under 10, it's one you can get in and out of. Hims is a beast. Look at this big, this huge cup way back in January 2021. Came up here, pulled back a little bit, kind of a tiny handle, and then took off. Unfortunately, now you're just kind of playing with fire a little bit. They spent a whole lot of money now on the ads. I think they did their first Super Bowl ad, just selling everything from fake Viagra to hair loss and everything in between. I think that's kind of a good long-term strategy with all the telemedicine. Just get your pills in the mailbox. But this one is just so volatile, and people are just. It's one of these ones where I feel it's a little bit manipulated, so you got to be careful getting into that one. Snowflake. I don't track this one too much. I think this one's on the cybersecurity side, but I don't know. I've looked at other ones in the past. I don't know if I jump into this one, but if you're in Snowflake, let me know how you feel about that one. Upwork. I love the concept. The stock is kind of baselined. Maybe it finds its footing and starts kind of going up. Skip RSP, that's just an ETF on the S&P. Williams Sonoma. I can never get into this one. I know this one went on a tear, missed it, went through the trend line, that 112. It's at 151. People made some good money on that. I just, I know they got fancy cookware and stuff, but never got into it. Texas Roadhouse, whose favorite this is. Has a great YouTube channel. He's made a killing on this one. At 161, maybe a good long-term play. I just feel, man, these guys have killed it so much they went to 206. It is below the 200. It's below the 20. So maybe it's an entry point, maybe to slowly get into. L3 Harris, the defense stocks. I'm here nor there with them. It's like they pay a dividend. It's over 116, but there's going to be a war a world war. There's not. We're fighting. We're not fighting. It's always hard with those plays. Domino's Pizza. Man, I looked at this one was back in the 300s. That was the time to get in. It's at 487. This may be a little bit of a cup here. You got a cup here on the 15 year, and then kind of the handle. It has broken the 200. It has broken the 20. So if you don't mind paying 487 a share, look at Domino's Pizza. Maybe there's some activity. I like ExxonMobil. I've always liked at least having one or two oil stocks in a portfolio just as long-term hold. I invest in the solar. I'm all into that as well. I like that stuff, but I think good old oil and gas is still to have one or two in your portfolio. This one's paying 99 cents a share. I still like Exxon when it's under 100. So now it's a little bit pricey. You had to get in. It went to 97. But if you can get that one under 100, good place to be. Let's go. 3D is just getting killed down to $1.94. Let's talk about Live Nation. I am so mad I missed Live Nation. 80 was the point to get into it, even under 100. This thing is, people will not stop going to concerts. People get bored very easily. They have to get out and do something. It is one of those things of life. It's like people need to be entertained. I think this is actually a stock you can kind of do a long-term play. 132 is a little bit pricey, but if you can get it back, in the one between 120, 100, just a little bit pricey. I wish it was lower. Kind of missed that one. Dow Jones, Compass. I like Compass. I think a lot of the agents, the real estate agents that I know, and I know a ton of them, this has made a huge sweeping, way back here. This was December of 2021 in the $9 range. It's finally made it back, doing a little bit of pullback. It didn't break the 200. I think this, if you said, hey, I want to have one real estate brokerage in my portfolio, I think this one may be one to look at. So again, I wouldn't do it for a trade, but you could do a swing trade possibly, but you're going to wait a couple of months probably on that one. Good old Peloton, not much to talk about there. Costco, I like Costco for long-term investment. Little pricey here, obviously. Yeah, if you could have got this one, yeah, obviously. I mean, we're not even going to talk if you could have got this one way, way low. But even at 900, that's a nice entry point. It is now above the 20. Let's see, Booking Holdings. That's kind of high. Not much to say there. Did a pullback. And this one, yeah, I love this. This one's like at what, 4,800 a share. I'm gonna pass. Chemico, believe on the big nuclear play. Probably missed this one. If it gets back to the 30, I am glad it pulled back a little bit because this thing was as high as 62 way back, not way back, but in December of last year. So not that long ago. And now it's back, definitely under the 200, starting across the 20. It has crossed the 20 in the last 3 sessions. So if you want the long-term nuclear play because of all the data centers and all the power, energy demands, look at Cameco. This one comes up on Fast Money. You'll hear it mentioned every now and then when they talk about the nuclear stocks. Star Bulk, this is the bulk carriers. I think they do the dry bulk shipping and the containers. This one paid a really good dividend for a while. It was like 0.70 cents. They pulled back to 0.60, and now it's 0.09. So this one was one of those dividend yield traps. You were making some good money, and then all of a sudden, and now, it could recover. The chart, the 15 doesn't look like horrendous. That's why when you look at this, you're like, crap, it was at 70 cents. Now we're paying 9 cents. You lost a bath. But if you're brand new and you're just getting started in dividend investing, do your research. But, when you look at the 15-year, you're like, wow, this thing was up in the 70s at one point. So have to see. Problem is with the tariffs, that didn't do it any favors. So Let's see, Bank of America. I still like Ally better and JP Morgan, but I know quite a few people like Bank of America. Just, pick your poison. This one, DoorDash, nice cup. Started to do a little handle, and look at this. It broke through. No cup and vandal on this one. It did the cup, it did the handle, broke through, and it's still going up. I can't this stock. I'm conflicted because I hate their service. I can tell you horror stories of like, guys eating food out of my bag, not delivering it to another address, calling, telling me they got in a car accident and they're not going to get my food. Like, it's just complete nonsense. But somehow the stock is great. So God bless you if you can make this one, if you can actually make the real life in real life service work. But buy the stock, don't use the service. ASML. This one is a long-term hold if you can get it low enough. Did a nice base here around the 600, 601. Get in while you can. This thing has peaked 945. Yeah, definitely try to get in this one if you got the money. It's 677 a share, but I think that one's a long-term play when you talk about semiconductor fabrication. There's only a few companies in the world that have the equipment. These guys are one of them, so definitely pay attention there. Fastly, I'm going to skip that one. Expedia, travel. People are going to travel. It was kind of basing here, kind of a little expensive. Golden Ocean Group, this is another one of those carriers that I look at for dividend. They've also cut. So they were at 30 cents, now at 15 cents. But again, if you're brand new, say you're like 18 or 20, you're in your early 20s, you're listening to me, God bless you. You got a lot of years ahead of you. Maybe you start dabbling in this one. Like some of these, when they're so low, I'm like, okay, how what's the risk going to be? All of these companies can't go out of business, right? There's going to be some carriers that are still going to survive. So again, do your due diligence, figure out which ones make the most sense. Netflix, loved Netflix. I missed this one. I won't say I missed this one. I mean, I had a few shares in it, but it's one of those, if you don't have enough shares, this thing now is like expensive. Right now, it hit 1,000 and now it's over 1,100. So congrats to the longs on this one. I guess people like to be entertained and they're like, hey, let me stay home and pay 20 bucks a month because that's still going to be a lot cheaper than trying to go to the basketball game in person. And so I get it, gosh, I wish these guys would split or do something. But that one's a tough one. Sixth Street. I love Sixth Street. These guys are a BDC. I don't know if I've done a video on BDCs, but Business Development Corps. They provide funding for a whole host of companies. If you ever wanted to invest in some of these private companies, but you can't because they're not public and you're not an accredited investor, definitely look at BDCs. These guys pay an awesome dividend too. They had 2 dividends running. There was like a 6 cents dividend and a 46-cent dividend. This is one that's a long-term hold, but you got to get at the right price. I wouldn't get in right now. I don't know if it's going to get back to 16, but I definitely love the Tislix is what I call it, Sixth Street. Check it out. Apple, poor old Apple. If you got in under 100 way back here, hopefully you may be holding. I'd say keep holding. I'm not one where it's like I'm not giving up on these guys. I think once they move all their, not all, but a lot of their manufacturing to India, which has now been accelerated because of the tariffs, I think they'll be fine. I know people want them to come out with the next great thing. It's going to be a while for them to come out with the next great thing, but people eventually got to refresh their iPhone. So I think you kind of hold on that one, let it ride. GE, this thing's been a monster. This is the funny thing about GE. This thing was at 45, went up to 208. But if you look at the 15-year, it took forever for this thing to recover. So this is an example of why you want to have a very long-term chart. GE's been around forever. The stock's been through hell and back. It's one kind of pricey now, so I probably wouldn't get in right now. But man, congrats to the people that held on and kind of went through hell and kept going. And hopefully they're through the other side. I'm getting slaughtered on Dell. I thought, the semi with the NVIDIA work they were doing. This thing's painful. I am praying this thing gets some momentum. It's broke the 20, got 3 green days. Let's see if it, I'd love it if it can start getting back over 100, heading towards 120. But yeah, this one took a beating. JBL, Jabal, they are, and I'm gonna forget the name, but they kind of put some of the components together after the chips are manufactured. I can't think of the name of what they do, but do your research. Check out this company. But I'm just slipping right now, kind of on kind of what they do. But definitely one that's worth looking at. TSM, everyone knows Taiwan Semiconductor. This one would be a golden child, but with it being based in Taiwan, the whole China thing is always dicey. It's had a nice pullback, so you could dabble a little bit, but again, just always be careful with the China stocks. Let's skip XDTE. This is Roundhill. I won't skip it, but this is on the S&P covered ETF, so it's a way for you to make some income off of covered calls. I like it. It's at 38 right now. It's done a huge pullback. A lot of people are getting into Roundhill because what's the other one? Yield Max has been a disaster with the NAV erosion. So check out Roundhill. This may be one to dabble in because it's pulled back so much. Cohen and Steers, I have to look at that one again. I'm foggy on that one. VTI, the good old standby. Unity software can't get out of the damn dumps. When I was in this one for a while, probably at the 80 level and got to 100, and this damn thing, they have I don't know, I believe Win has some China exposure. I think that they are the ones with the exposure in Macau. I just got tired of waiting around for these casino stocks. Like, go get Vici and at least get a dividend and have the casinos pay Vici for their leases. That's one that just doesn't do it for me anymore. Airbnb, I like their commercials. I think they have like some pretty cool marketing commercials. We've never stayed in an Airbnb. I think we use the other one, like Home Away or whatever, but I've never actually booked through Airbnb. This one may be, I don't know if it's a lifetime stock or a decade stock, but I think it has legs. I know they're making some changes with some of the things like getting the total cost. Again, you got to watch this one. I'd say this is not one you buy and just set and forget. But if you want to dabble, that may be one to look at. Zillow started to turn around. Again, I think with the real estate will eventually make a comeback. So don't let it get away from you. If you believe in like Compass and Zillow and some of these ones that when housing is doing good, they take off, like get in early. So this one's under 200. So if you want to get in, better get in because it just starts going up and you'll miss it. Etsy's been on a little bit of a downtrend. I don't know with recession if people are going to be doing that much shopping for their stuff. Zoom, I haven't touched Zoom since pandemic. The SPX, that's following the market. The SPY, NEOS, if you want to get some income, that's another one to look at. It's low enough, starting to creep up. 43 was kind of where you wanted to be at. Don't let it get to 50. So be careful on this one. If you're going to get in, especially it just crossed the 20. Rigetti, I want to say this was one of the ones with the quantum computing. I don't know too much about these. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of research. It did have a nice pullback. Again, you shouldn't be buying these stocks blindly, but it did have a little pullback, so you may want to invest. If you want to have one or two, I don't even know two, maybe have one quantum computing stock in your portfolio. I think we have the other ones in here in a bit. It's like Qubits and the other one, but we'll get to it. I don't know the main difference between those three, but do your due diligence. Sonos, I love their technology with the wireless speakers, but like this thing, it had a couple of bases and just keeps blowing through, and their stuff is not cheap. And because of that, with the recession, one I'm really not interested in at this point. Blackline will skip. Dow will skip. Dow had they paid a nice dividend. This one's been a dividend. It's one that's held by a lot of dividend payers, but it's one I've never really had a big interest in. Now that it's pulled back significantly, maybe start looking at it again. PayPal's been a disaster, but looks like it's finally formed a base. Just crossed its 20-day, still below the 200. Carvana has been a beast. This one I don't even want to talk about. I sold covered calls on Carvana, and I can't even tell you. It's just too embarrassing how I got basically called like way down here. I won't even give you the number, but it was under 50. And now this thing is literally at 237. I repeat, do not do covered calls on meme stocks. You will be highly upset when they run and now your shares are called away. And yeah, the percentage gain on this was crazy that I missed out on because of covered calls. Qualcomm, I've always liked Qualcomm, but I don't see a really good pattern right now. It has crossed the 20, approaching that baseline at 158 that I had. Maybe it'll do something. Applied Materials. This one, another semi. Pick your poison, which one you like. But this one's crossed the 20 as well. Adtalem. If you don't know Adtalem, they're in the education space. This one has been a monster. So a lot of these like online, whether it's University of Phoenix, Walden, all of these kind of online masters, MBA degrees, these guys play in this space. Man, this is one you should have got down at the 45, 46. I think this one will still run at some point. I don't know if I jump into this one tomorrow at 105, but you can see it's kind of starting to peak here in these, between 112 to 108. Maybe when you can get this one at a little bit of a pullback, jump in, but keep your eye on Adtalem. Online education is just big business. Definitely one of the few that you can actually trade. Amcor Technology. I forgot what these guys do. I know they're in obviously semis, but this one has been a disaster. It looks like kind of blew through. Melly, Mercado Libre. Love this one. They call it the Amazon of Brazil, but missed it. This one is now 2,000. I remember when this stock was in 1,000 range a couple of years ago, and you're like, man, do I want to put $1,000 on one share? I am not like these other millionaire traders. So this one was the one to put some money in it. Gosh, even if you put 10 grand in it, this was the one, and now it's over 2,000. So congrats on the people that got into Mercado Libre. Boeing is just Boeing, right? Boeing's cut the dividend. Boeing will be around forever, probably. A lot of swing traders like Boeing because it's had a predictable pattern, but it's gapped. It's back up to 177. I'm probably going to stay out and just stay out. Fubu, I should have sold my Fubu at 645. Now I'm broke again. This damn thing, I think they announced that partnership. I want to say it was with Disney maybe. And then I think there's some more stuff going on. I think now there was like an antitrust investigation if they can do the partnership. This damn thing, when it peaks like this, you just got to take your chips off the table and call it a day. iSpy, I think this is another one of the covered calls. I haven't looked at iSpy. I've looked at Spy I, but not iSpy. Fortinet, FTNT, cybersecurity, kind of high. Not going to touch it. Stryker. I love Stryker. I actually have a video on Stryker. Go watch my YouTube video on Stryker. Not that we want to be in the hospital, but when you go in the hospital, all the beds and the equipment, Stryker is everywhere in the hospital. So go watch my YouTube video on that. Very good long-term play. Really positive company, but you wanted this back at 260, not at 365. So that's that. Gotta wait for a pullback on that one. QQM, AMDY, these are all these. I put these in my experimental bucket of all these. This is the yield max. covered call. They do covered calls on AMD. AMD is crazy volatile. The NAV erosion's crazy. This thing may finally be bottoming out. So if you want to be highly, highly risky, hey, buy some AMDY right now and see. You may work out. This is one that you don't want to overstay your welcome though. So be careful on that one. Good old Microsoft, that's a buy for me. Long-term hold. There's not much to say there. 391 is not a great price, but hey, that one's just a long-term hold for me. ARM, not much to say here. I know ARM has been a weird one. It hasn't been public that long. CRM, Salesforce. This one has bounced around. Everybody uses damn Salesforce. Like every company I go to, it's like we use Salesforce, but stock's now above the 200, 361 or 369 was the peak most recently. Pinterest. Haven't played in this one. I'm actually surprised this one is not lower, to be honest with you, but somebody's still looking at Pinterest. Lyft, I want to get into Lyft. This is the one that scares me. Between this and Uber, I think Uber is the better play, but this thing's crossed the 20, going towards the 200. It's kind of towards the bottom, at least the trend lines I drew at 1269. I'm just scared. I'm just scared on that one, but Lyft may be an option, so take a look at it. Adam, let's skip. Magnite, they compete. I shouldn't say they compete, but if you're familiar with the trade desk and the software where publishers can, basically put out, what ad spots on the internet. So like if you want to advertise on various platforms, Magnite and Trade Desk, I like Trade Desk better for kind of ad placement across, whether it's Hulu and websites across the internet. This one was a great trade. This is definitely not one I would hold. I think I traded this way back. It was like down in the 10s and maybe got out at 20. So maybe it was like, it's like 100% return. But then you get greedy and this thing went to 61. It's at 12. If you get this back up to 20, take your chips off the table. That's all I'm going to say on that one. AMZP, this is Kerr's version of Amazon covered call towards the bottom. Definitely one to look at, or you can buy the actual Amazon stock. That one's starting to come back. I think Amazon's still a great long-term play. I know stock hasn't performed like people thought it would, but watch. TTD. So this is the trade desk. This is the one I like a lot better. This one went to 139 on the this online ad space. Baseline's at 43. So maybe get in. If you're gonna get in quick. Had a nice gap down. It'll probably fill that back up to 80. So definitely take a look at this one. I may have to write this one down. I didn't realize that it had gap down. I think I remembered it and then totally forgot about it. So definitely check that one out. Target, I always pick Walmart. Funny enough, at 91.57, it looked like it kind of hit 91.57 back here and kind of hit it almost to the penny. If you watch Fast Money, to the penny with Carter Worth. This one, yeah, maybe it's a good entry point. I just kind of favor Walmart. QDT will skip. Alti, these are all covered calls. We will cover more on these at other points, but today I'll kind of skip them. DocuSign, man, this one was the run during COVID. I think Jason Brown, if you kind of watch some of his stuff on YouTube, this is the one that probably, I think, retired him or put him a millionaire. He made a killing on this one. I think he was trading options on this one. Now it's one like you will probably never have that happen ever again. So Jason was the beneficiary of that. And at this point, it went up to 310. I hear their service is pretty expensive for like the digital signatures. A lot of real estate uses DocuSign. It's a really cool service. Has a nice cup here, a long-term cup, and probably will get back up to that $100 range. But again, I think you're not going to do the Jason Brown move on this one. GameStop, we're not even going to talk about GameStop. Macy's, down. This one, if it gets back to 20, sell it. This one just can't get out of its own way. Google, Alphabet, I don't know. This one, I can't make heads or tails. Everyone's like, yeah, Google's going to come back. And then you hear, well, all the AI, Perplexity, pick your favorite one. Gemini, which is theirs. ChatGPT. I mean, I know even myself, if I want a very quick answer, I'm just throwing it in. Claude is kind of the one I use right now. So I am using Google less. I wouldn't say it's a lot less or half, but I definitely don't use it. Maybe it's 10% less, 20% less, which can be significant. So Google, we'll see what happens with Google. This is a Schwab ETF to follow the market. AGNC. AGNC is playing with fire. This is one pray that you didn't get in up here. This one is low enough. It's a REIT. They do, I want to say it's basically one of these like mortgage-backed, I don't know if it's, I don't want to call it mortgage-backed securities, but they basically make money on the spread. Now that interest rates are at 7%, at least for residential, that's kind of what tailed this thing off. But it's low enough where this one may be one to kind of like entertain yourself, because you look at it, it's like $8 a share and it's paying 12 cents. But be very careful with this one. But there's a couple of these that are kind of interesting to look at if you're looking for your dividend portfolio. SoundHound, the AI company, I like SoundHound. You had to get in around 4 or 5. I don't like it as much here. But if you were able to buy around the 8, it's still not too late. I think there's a couple of guys on Instagram that think this one is going to skyrocket to the moon. That was after kind of the pullback, the scare we had this year. So you may dabble in this one. I think you can make some money on that one. Roku, not touching it. Twilio. I used to love Twilio. 435 way back when on the 15-year chart. This one, I think, I was back in the 80s. I think I rode this one all the way back down. Again, don't let taxes and greed scare you. I probably wouldn't get in right now. 95 is not bad, but that one is just great trade back in the day. Palo Alto. I like Palo Alto on the cybersecurity front. There's just a lot of people, CrowdStrike's in this place, but I was kind of a Palo Alto follower for a while. I mean, look at this beautiful stair step all the way up on the 15-year chart here. And now it's pulled back. But yeah, if you got in the 80, 70, this one could have been a long-term hold. Affirm, I hate this buy now, pay later. It seems like it's going to do well, though. It looks like a long-term cup, kind of a mini handle, broke through, pulled back, starting to recover back to that trend line, which is at 48. So this is one you may want to look at. Firm. YMAG is another one, the Yield Max. Tractor Supply. I like Tractor Supply went through a recent, stock split, and now it can't get out of its own way. It had a little bit of a bump, and now it's kind of falling. I think long term, you always find these out in the country. If you've kind of been in places like Texas, they always build a Tractor Supply like, an hour outside of like an edge city. And then in 5-10 years, with urban sprawl, like the suburbs, all the new home builders just fill in all that space. So if you want to know kind of where all the population, go look for all the Tractor Supply stores and where they're located. But I like Tractor Supply. They have a little bit of a dividend. It looks like they did a big cut, though. So do your research on that one. Adobe, I want to love Adobe so much at 688. I thought this thing would never fall below 500. And now you're in the danger zone. You're like, crap, is Canva going to just wipe these people out? Why is so many people love Canva? I get it. I know it's easy to use. But I just can't imagine doing like really big projects in Canva. But somehow Canva's eating their lunch. We'll see if this thing can get back over to 500. Data Doggy, another one. I don't follow Datadog too much. I know a couple of people made a lot of money on this one. Vistra, another one that's popular, and unfortunately, I don't follow that one either too much. GE Healthcare, I like this one, but you got to get in at the right time. So this is when GE kind of did their split. This is the healthcare, I believe this is the one like the MRI machines, all the big equipment that you see in healthcare. If you want to invest in that business, like people are going to continue to need MRIs and all that medical equipment that GE makes. They pay the dividends kind of very low, 3 cents, but something to look at. Mara, Bitcoin. Again, I think I'd rather own Bitcoin, but some people are playing it if you want to own Mara, the stock. Shop. I like Shop. Shop is one I liked, and I just didn't buy enough of it. And so now it was at 46, was kind of where I put my baseline. And look at that. I actually got a baseline that was perfect. It hasn't crossed below that baseline. Unfortunately, like I said, you could spread yourself too thin. I just didn't have enough capital to buy enough shares to make it worthwhile. But this thing is at 97 now. So Shop, I want to say these guys are based out of Canada for all their website. Every business, everybody wants to be their own boss and entrepreneur. They need a website. They go use Shopify. Chewy was a good one for a while. It's finally crossed my baseline. It's crossed the 200. It's crossed the 20. I don't know. This one is always one where, though, it gets high, starts to go, and then it just comes back. So be careful with that one. Frog is another. JFrog is another. Cybersecurity. I haven't watched that one too much. I won't speak on it. Northrop Grumman, another defense stock, paying $2 a share. It's great if you work there and retired with a pension and you got like thousands of shares in it, then you're doing well. But I don't know. I wouldn't buy into this one right now. Good old Coney. So this is yields max on coin. I do like coin if you don't want to invest in Bitcoin and crypto directly. I still think coin long term is going to be a monster. And look at this. I mean, it can't get, I mean, it can always get lower, but I think that 676 is a pretty nice, and again, that was on the weekly. So the daily was 611 was the low. This one I think you can nibble at. If you're going to nibble fast though, if that makes any sense, because you can make a lot of money on the dividend. This pays monthly, I believe. So you get a monthly dividend, but you got to throw some money at it. Again, high risk, only make this like 5% of your portfolio or 3% of your portfolio. AMD, man, this thing just breaking my heart. Want to get this thing back to 120. It's had 2 green days. I like to have, I don't talk too much about my setup here on my charts, but I like to have one where I can see the prior day, the overnight, and it peaked 97 today. It's holding up pretty well. I think it'll get back to 100 probably in the next couple of weeks, if not faster. But then when it does, it just gets slammed down again. This one is one I feel that's really, the options basically control the stock. There's so much options trading in this one. This is one where it's kind of manipulated, a little bit. So just be careful with that one. I used to think AMD was a long-term hold, not anymore. You're probably better with NVIDIA. But if you want to trade this one or look at one of the, like I said, one of the covered call ETFs, you may get some luck doing AMD that way. Himax, I forgot what these guys do. Lockheed Martin, defense, not touching it. Enphase, lost my shirt on this one. They down to 46. I'm not doing anything with them anymore. Spotify. I think this one was a great long-term hold. The whole satellite radio and the podcast. Obviously, we're saturated with podcasts now. I think they'll hit some steady state, but I'd be shocked if they fall below 350. I probably wouldn't get in right now, though. It's kind of missed the boat on that one. Here's the one I was talking about earlier, D-Wave, quantum, qubits. If you want to get one or two in the quantum computing space. I'm not in this one, but something to check out. Hubs. This is HubSpot, great CRM platform for marketing, email list management. They kind of have a host of like modules. A little pricey for me. Definitely liked it better. This one kind of got away from me. AI, C3 AI at the base. So this one is one you may want to look at. Again, don't put your life savings in it. But if you want to dabble in a pure AI, this one's decent. Again, don't put your life savings in it though. CrowdStrike, they finally recovered from that fiasco where the airport terminals were all out over the world. So just like that, people have short memories. Looks like they've crossed the 200, the 20, doing well. Meta, I like Meta long term, still a little pricey, but they've had a nice pullback. So I could see, if you got the money and you're in this 500 range, I'd say buy quick before it starts getting too close to that 600. RTX, let's skip for now. Hood, I like Hood long term. I think these guys are just going to be killer. Like their brokerage, their model, they're always coming out with new features. Yeah, I think the Schwabs and E-Trades, they're just, I get it. They have a lot more money under management, and they have to be a little bit less risky. But Vlad is just over here, just being a terror. So I love it. Great CEO. Hopefully he stays there a while. I don't know if this is a long-term cup and handle, if you can call it, but yeah, if you're gonna get in soon. Quantum computing, another one. Not much I could say there, but that's the third one you can look at. Marvell, 58, not one I kind of look at, but I know quite a few people invested in that one. Cadence, I want to say they do the fab design for chips. This one is this is the one to look at back I remember when this thing was in the hundreds. So good long-term play. Probably wouldn't get in it right now. Coinbase, like I said, I think Coinbase is a good long-term play. I don't know if it's a lifetime stock, but definitely another decade kind of one. Udemy, I was really hoping Udemy would take off with the whole, massive online courses that they offer, Coursera and all of these platforms. I still think Adtalem's a better play where they're actually partnering with universities, and it's not, not just like a one platform where you come to get all your learning on different topics. So I would still pick Adtalem over a Udemy. Slightly different model, but these guys just haven't recovered. They're down at 696. Chegg has been a killer. I thought Chegg was gonna. When I say a killer, I mean a killer physically. Like this thing went to 113, and this thing is now under $1. Like it's just gotten slaughtered. So don't touch it. TAN, this is on all the solars. I think it was like the ETF with all the solar stocks taking a real beating. Maybe it starts to turn around. I probably wouldn't touch it just yet. It has crossed the 20, so take note of that if you're going to watch that solar play. Micron, another one. There's just a ton of these semi-type stocks. Blink, don't touch it. Misty is one. It's yield max, and it's covered calls on MicroStrategy. This thing is a beast. Go watch some of the videos on YouTube. There's some erosion, but maybe it's found a base here. I want to say Misty pays monthly, I believe. And there's just a whole bunch of people trying to bank their whole retirement on Misty. Highly risky, highly dangerous, but hey, if you got 10K laying around and you don't mind being highly risky, throw it on Misty and see what happens. AppLovin, I don't pay attention. I don't know why this stock reminds me of Mick Lovin from the movie. I don't know, the name just bothers me for some reason, but the stock seems to be doing well. So that's that. Applied Digital starting to come back. I think Gosh, I want to say it was Applied Digital, the one Chris Sane was talking about on YouTube. I watch a lot of guys. I like to do comparisons. I think, I support all the people out there on YouTube, all the influencers. Like I said, everybody's right 50% of the time. I think everybody has best intentions. I think when he was calling this one out, he thought it was going to go back up to 12. It actually like hit 8 and then it just cratered. I think this thing will eventually definitely cross the 200 day. But I think this is one of the ones that Chris wasn't right on. But Chris is a good guy. Like I said, he has good content, so we're not going to be right on all of these all the time. Nvidia, what's going on with Nvidia? Buy this thing under 100. That's what you need to know about Nvidia. It's at a 111, so it's not too bad. This is a decade stock, probably a 20-year stock. Get on it. There's nothing to talk about. Rivian, I really like their trucks. I really hope these guys can survive and like get some mass production where they can really, crank the revenue. I think their vehicles are cool. It's just automotive is just a hard business to be in, and the stock just reflects it. CMG, they split recently. They can't get out of their way. I like CMG. If you're going to get in this one, it just crossed the 20-day. Get in it for the long term. Get in it for, I think they just opened their first restaurant in Mexico, which is interesting. But yeah, get in this one on the play because they have a whole green field of opening restaurants outside of the United States. So I think this one will eventually run. McDonald's at one point had ownership, or not ownership, but they had some partial ownership in Chipotle. I think they fully, divested from their position, but I think these guys are still a good long-term play. SoFi, I love SoFi. They keep talking about this being the next JP Morgan. I don't think it's going to be all of that, but it is a stock. If you got under 8, congratulations. A lot of people did. I think this one is a buy and hold for a bit. So if you can get SoFi on a pullback, get in on that one. Palantir, good old Palantir is heading back up to 119. That's on the weekly though. So 125 is kind of the peak right now on the daily. Yeah, it could eventually, it looks like it may get up here and form a cup. So pay attention to Palantir. I know that's a big meme stock, but yeah, it's worth having a few shares in Palantir. CISA, the casinos. Again, I like Vici on the REIT side. Own the people that the casinos have to pay money to. So I wouldn't own Caesars or Wynn directly. Reddit, I wish I got in on Reddit. I'm glad it pulled back. This is kind of a gift. I think there's something here. I really wish I would have got in at, like, what did this thing went to? This thing closed at, is that 93? Yeah, 93, and had a low of the day of 79. But yeah, now it's already up at 118. This one was one to watch. Again, you got to have enough capital across all of these. There is the famous or infamous MicroStrategy, or Strategy as it's called now. 368. 421, a little bit pricey. Go for Misty. Go for Misty and see what you can do with Misty on the covered call if you're going to play risky. Penn, down. Solar Edge, haven't been following this one, but I probably wouldn't touch it right now. Notice I'm getting to the end of my list here. We're a little over an hour. That was up 7% today. VeriSign, I really like VeriSign. This was up 8% today. This thing's getting ready to go on a tear. With all of cybersecurity and basically authentication and hackers, this is probably a good one to be in. Unfortunately, you should have got back in here where I had my trend line at 190. This crap is now at 272. So, you can't be in all of them, but VeriSign was definitely one that you should have got in. And then who would have thought, good old Mr. Musk, Tesla is the highest one on my watch list today. It was up 9.8%. And Yeah, let's see what Elon can do here. Let's see if it crosses back over the 200. Um, yeah, I mean, if you got shares in this one, I'd probably hold out and just see what happens. I don't see this thing getting down to 150. If it does, people are going to start loading the boat. But you see, kind of had a peak here. Basically, resistance becomes support. Here was the resistance here. It broke through, and then it became support. Kind of cracked through a little bit, but then support here. It's 150 range. I had a baseline here. I don't know if that was the best line to draw, but that was around, what did I have it at? 217 or so. Um, yeah, Tesla's a hard one, but we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm like diehard recommendation, but I think there'll definitely still be a place for Tesla for a while. All right, folks. Hopefully that was really useful. Like, subscribe to this video. We're gonna do this periodically. I'm gonna try to do it once a week, but sometimes it may be a little bit longer than that. If the market's not moving a lot, there's not a lot to cover. But you see, I think going through the stock gauntlet here, we look at every stock, we run it through the gauntlet, and see if it's worth doing a trade or a long-term entry as a good entry position. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Thanks again. This is Brian signing off. Good luck trading.